All right, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at something big on the ballot for Santa Clara County voters, Measure A. Now, on the surface, it's a sales tax meant to fix a serious budget problem. But a new report suggests there might be a totally different way forward. So the big question is this tax absolutely necessary, or is it a missed opportunity to do something more fundamental? Let's get into the numbers.
And look, the stakes are high. County officials are looking at a potential annual funding gap of over $1 billion for health services. $1 billion. A huge reason for that is the threat of cuts in federal Medicaid funding, which could really disrupt care for thousands of people. So the county's proposed solution is Measure A. It's a 5/8 cent sales tax increase, and it's temporary. The idea is to bring in about $330 million a year to help fill that giant hole in the budget.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, because a new, comprehensive report is asking a really important question. Faced with this kind of deficit, is hiking taxes the only way out, or is there another path that maybe we haven't considered? So to figure this out, the report starts by looking at how Santa Clara's health spending stacks up against its neighbors. And, well, what it finds is pretty staggering.
And wow, when you see the numbers side by side, the difference is just huge. For the next fiscal year, Santa Clara is on track to spend over $3,500 per resident on health. Now look at its neighbors. San Mateo is at about $1,400. In Alameda County, they spend less than $800 per person. It's not even close.
Let's just put that in perspective. Santa Clara County is spending anywhere from 2.5 to a whopping 10 times more per person on health than similar counties right next door. I mean, that's not just a little difference, it's a massive gap. The report suggests something is fundamentally different about how they operate.
So what gives? Why the huge difference? Well, the report points a finger directly at one thing: the Santa Clara Valley Healthcare System, or SCVH. See, unlike its neighbors, Santa Clara owns and runs its own very large, very centralized public hospital system, and that comes with much, much higher costs and overhead.
Which of course leads you to ask, well, if Santa Clara's model is so pricey, what are the other guys doing? So the report takes a deep dive into the models used by Alameda and San Mateo to see how they managed to spend so much less.
And you can really see the different strategies here. On one hand, you have Santa Clara's model. It's all built around that big, county-owned hospital system. But on the other hand, you have the model that its peers are using. They tend to outsource more of the expensive hospital care to partners, and they put a bigger focus on integrated systems and preventative care.
So, the report says the success of these other counties really comes down to three key things. First up, they use a hybrid model. Basically, they avoid the massive costs of owning and running a hospital themselves. Next, integration. They combine their physical and behavioral health departments, which cuts out a ton of waste. And finally, prevention. They invest in community health to try and keep people from needing expensive emergency room care in the first place.
And here's the kicker. The report says these aren't just theories that work somewhere else. It argues that Santa Clara could totally adopt these same principles, and in doing so, could completely reshape its own budget and its healthcare system.
In fact, it lays out a pretty clear three-step plan. Step 1, expand outsourcing. Contract with other hospitals for things like specialty services. Step 2, get serious about integration. Unify the data systems and health plans to get rid of redundant costs. And step 3, double down on prevention by shifting more money to community partners and things like mobile clinics.
Okay, but what does all this mean in terms of actual dollars and cents? Well, this is the bottom line. I know there's a lot of detail in this table, but just focus on that final number. The report projects that by making these changes, the county could see massive annual savings. We're talking a low-end estimate of $650 million, all the way up to $1.2 billion a year.
And that brings us right back to Measure A, but now we're looking at it in a whole new way, right? It's not just about finding cash anymore, it's about choosing a direction for the future.
All right, so let's put these two options head to head. On one side, you've got Measure A. If it passes, it's expected to raise about $330 million a year.
And on the other side, you have the potential savings from making these reforms. The lowest estimate, $650 million, is nearly double what the tax would bring in. The high-end estimate is more than 3.5 times larger. Let that sink in for a second.
So you can see how the report totally flips the script here. It concludes that this high spending isn't just a problem that needs a tax to fix it. Instead, it's actually a huge opportunity. An opportunity to build a much more efficient and sustainable system without having to raise taxes on residents.
And that really leaves voters and county leaders with one massive question. Is Santa Clara County really facing a fiscal crisis that can only be solved by a new tax? Or is this actually a rare chance to innovate, to reform, and to build a stronger system for the long haul, one that doesn't require more of your money? According to this analysis, that's the choice on the table.